let's put our deco valve back in. Check the washer, it's there. And again, so when we did that quick pressure test, we tested the gasket, we tested all of the seals in the bottom of the chainsaw, the housings, to make sure nothing's cracked. We checked this, it tested that gasket right there for us. It did a lot, and so that way we know we're in good shape now. We can keep moving forward with a reasonable deal of confidence and that we got the right thing going. So now let's put our exhaust, our muffler gasket on. Those can be a little hateful. Yeah, what I wonder was that bolt was in there and it was already in there. Let's try that again. Oh, yeah, that looks real good. Okay. Has those little nubs on the back of that gasket to kind of help hold it up in there for you while you get a good start going. That look good. And then I drop it. Alright. Get him on the next one there. I didn't have the bottom lined up. Now we got it. Perfect. Let me tilt this up so you can see what I'm talking about here. So we have to have these two and the ones down in there. I've fought with them before. Those little nubs on the gasket kind of help. Like if you get it in there, you got to just push it tight and it'll stay put reasonably well. All right, just go ahead and put the front of the muffler on while we're here. All right, there you can kind of see that aluminum color again. So we're going to put this together. The screws will go in the top and washers and nuts on the bottom. And there's no gasket between those two halves. So we'll that fella there. Again, I love this tool for holding saws in place while doing this kind of work. One, two. Ease a washer on there. Oh yeah, there's one. Again, I'm just going to put a little dab of grease on my finger there. Not quite that much. I don't need much. Just enough to hold it while I put it in there. And it will smoke a little maybe. It's not going to be the end of the world. Just a handy little trick to get those things where you need them. Wipe that off. Thankful I have this old saw. I tell you, things are a little bit hard to get a hold of right now. This is, I don't know when you'll be watching this, but this is April of 22, and just put a video up there a few weeks ago of them late March coming out and saying that no more dealers couldn't order any of the saws that they were after, and it'll be a little bit tight getting hold of stuff. So we'll just keep running with what we got, and hopefully we can keep stuff alive. That'll be our big hope. If we can just keep the stuff alive, maybe we can keep working. So all that looks good. I think we're ready for a carburetor. This fella goes up there, and that just seals against the housing right there. So it'll just drop right into place. Now I'll probably do this a couple times, remembering where everything goes, unfortunately. So this goes up on the top, I do know that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that back off and insert it. That is our pulse to make our fuel pump work. Our fuel pump sits right inside here. Ah, there we go. Careful not to scratch that all to pieces if I can help it. Lift on that little, there we go. All right, so there's that feller in place. Got a little guy right here. We'll need to, I think I've got a new fuel line somewhere. Okay, so right here was our original fuel line. And I hope that's the right size. Whew. A lot more bulky on that one, isn't it? That's what it called for, though. So we're going to trim this off so we don't tear up our plastic piece. I'm going to try not to cut deep into that. Like metal, you can get by with a little scratch. Plastic, I really don't want to scratch it. But I don't have to. Get it close without cutting all the way through. Oh yeah, we're about there now. This little plastic piece that I'm working with right now is the one that goes down to the fuel tank pickup hose that the fuel filter goes on the end of. Of course, we've got a brand new fuel filter put on it. Not because there's anything wrong with the old one, but man, I just easy insurance policy. Something go wrong. I'm just going to cut that back a little further. There we go. I'm going to get that thing off of there. Perfect. Hope it's the right stuff. I'm just not sure though. That's what they gave us though. That fit there pretty well. I'm reasonably pleased with it. Get some of that dirt wiped off around that. Now we're going to try to get this the same length. The wall thickness is the big deal. You can see how thick the wall is on that. I hope that's not for like what do they call that? Vapor locking. So it's not like an insulative thing that's necessary, because this is what they gave us, is what we're going to use. But hopefully if we run into trouble vapor locking, I'll store that in the old memory bank there, hopefully. Or go back and watch this video and I'll hopefully remember what I did wrong, right? Too small hose. Hey, that looks pretty good. I think that hose runs under that though. A little dab of dirt on that. We don't want that in there now, do we? Maybe that needs to go over here. There, that looks a lot better. Hey, I like that. Well, I did. Let's do that one more time here. Maybe it'll stay put. I'm going to push down this flange here. Make sure that seats. There we go. Now I'm looking in there, make sure I don't have any kinks in it. And all that looks good. Also checking that one for kinks. We don't want any problems. Okay, that all lines up good for adjustment. And I like it. I like it. Okay, let's put this pilot trigger mast together. screw adjustment covers in there. And again, that's one of those things that's probably not a huge necessary thing, unlike the other pieces of shrouding that would be, because this is not in the airflow for the cooling. So probably not the end of the world if something, oops, the wrong screwdriver. Didn't get a screwdriver at all. And those are very necessary, so always be sure you have those in place. I need to look at that again. I'm going to see how that thing attaches because it's being stubborn. Okay, so looks like it attaches around the corners and in the middles. So that's what we're after. So we'll put that in, twist it. Try one more time here. See if we have any better success. Okay, that's looking better. There, that's where she needs to be. She wasn't holding my mouth right first time. Okay, that all looks really good. Again, I've got a little dirt in there I'm not real tickled about leaving, but I should have cleaned that out a little earlier. It's too late to get to it now. But anyway, that's the way it goes sometimes. All right, so we've got this feller that goes into place. And I think I've got some linkage I need to deal with first because it looks like it's all going to be on the back side of that. So, yeah, I believe we'll do that first. And that's the problem with taking a machine apart a long time ago. Sometimes you forget where all the junk went. I'm pretty sure I need to wait on the spark plug till I get the rest of the plastic on the top. So let's fight my favorite part, which is linkage. I have to go back and look at a video to remember how to do all this. All right, so we finally got it all back together. I lost a battery there. Battery went dead. So anyway, we are back into getting this thing together. I ended up just having to go get the video and pulled it up. I think it was on the third or fourth video of the taking it apart. I was able to find out where it went there. So that's all good. We got it all the linkage back together, and the thing is not wanting to go down there far enough. There we go. Now we got it. So anyway, we'll put our little boot back on here. And I'll kind of show you how all of it looks in there. If I can get this thing to cooperate. Let me get it turned around here. There we go. All right. So actually, let me bring it back a little bit. I think that looks good. Now, so what we're after is making sure our safety switch, basically it's operator present. Somebody can't just pull the trigger, so we want to make sure that all works. And again, anytime you fool with linkage on these, you've got to double check to make sure all that stuff is functioning like it should. I got a little dirt right there. All right, so we want to make sure the throttle doesn't move unless this is depressed, and it works perfect. That's great. So now with that down, we're going to check our multifunction switch. All the way down is full choke, just like it should be. We should be able to go up one click. There's part choke. Now the next one, I should pinch it, and it should release up into run position. And there it did, and we should be able to have off. So there we go. And this being an older saw, it stays in off, unlike the 462s and stuff that you bump them up and they return back to on. So it stays up and off. So that all looks good. It all seems to function just like it should. Yep, everything's working like it should. So, and that shouldn't drop down unless this is pulled. All right, it all seems to check out. So that looks great. Now we're going to go ahead and put our cover on the back here. I'm going to take it out and blow it off with air compressor first, but we'll get this all cleaned up, and we'll install our other pieces, get our air filter on, and that's probably all I'm going to have time to do today because anyway, had some meetings I had to attend I had forgotten about. So anyway, we got all that taken care of, and we'll go ahead and button this up. I don't want to leave it without an air filter on it for the night though. So we'll go ahead and clean this up, throw our plate and everything on it, and we'll be ready to hopefully tomorrow or so get ready to fire this thing up and listen to it run. So anyway, I'm going to go blow this off. All right, so we need to put those. I don't know if those wires go in there or not, do they? Typically wires go in those little holders like that, but put it on the correct way. How's that sound? There we go. When this little guy is what goes in the bottom of that carburetor, that gives it clean air down into that section of the carb. That looks real good. Then we'll have this little fella. I just think it goes up. Yeah, this little cutout is for that guy. Perfect. Now I'm kind of glancing across my workbench here just to make sure I haven't forgot any parts. Because right now is, I like to just periodically do that because it's easy to miss one. And the quicker you find out you missed one, the better. I need to get that kind of out of y'all's face, don't I? There, how's that? All right, that looks good. Go ahead and snug those down. Oh, that's looking great. Beautiful. I like it. Now again, we've already tested all those lines for any leaks in them, so we're not going back and forth with any of that because we didn't change any of it. All that stayed the same, so we're not going to worry about any of those parts. Now, the next thing I want to do is put a new air filter on it. I'm going to put that air filter on. I just don't want any trash getting in there. I'll probably have to pull it back off, but no, maybe not. But I just don't want any trash getting in there tonight. Let's turn it over. Yeah, it seals there on the bottom. Had a little air gap. I was just making sure. I want to make sure that your air filter's doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right, so I'm just going to lay this on there so that we don't get any contaminants inside our brand new engine. All right, still have to put all this stuff on. We'll do that there probably tomorrow. I think we have time to change a fuel filter though. I don't want to get involved in too big stuff just yet. And I just like to change fuel filter pretty often. We already pulled the other one off, so it is already removed. I'm going to take our handy tool right there. It is. Again, we'll just take this little fella, reach in and grab our fuel line, right like that, maybe. Oh, come on now, don't be hateful. Grab it with a finger and I'll wedge it over against the tank here. And we'll just pop this new guy right on there. Like so. All right, now she is ready. In good shape. Again, I only run motor mix in this saw. Unless I'm doing a great big job that's going to be running multiple tanks through it, then I end it out on motor mix just because that keeps the carburetor alive. That carburetor is very expensive. And I don't want to trash it with regular fuel laying in it for any period of time. So, but that's kind of where that is and what we run in it. So pretty low likeliness of getting contaminants in there, but I still like to keep a good clean filter on it. Now I think we can go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and put our recoil housing on here. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, let's go ahead and put our recoil housing on. All that looks good. Yeah, everything in there, and check those little guys. They don't have any excessive wear. They're flopping out like they should, going in like they should. You can see they're in. When you pull, they go through those, and that's what then engages in these fellas. So it pops right out, and then as soon as you let go, the spring pulls them right back in tight, so they don't rub on those. So if you had one hanging, that'd be a problem. So anyway, there's that. It kind of slips under chain brake handle. Yeah, that looks good. Hold on, I may be getting ahead of myself. Can't remember if I need to. No, we can put this on later. That'll be great. We can go ahead and do that. So our big tall one goes here. Looks like I'm missing a screw, doesn't it? So all of these are the same length. They all look right. I need to find one more, don't I? Let's see what we got. And that is not it. That one's a little short. It's all right. We'll put it right here because it's very obvious that it's missing. So that way we don't have a problem with it later getting missed. So we can see it real easy right there. And it may have been missing one. I don't remember. We have to go back and look. Sometimes these old saws will lose a screw from time to time, but it's very well possible that it's just fell off the bench. So no big deal. All right, so I'm going to leave that one loose. I'm going to that looks very well lined up. I'm just going to gently snug it, and that way it should. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this one out. Make sure it starts there. Starts beautifully, so I can go ahead and tighten them down. And then when I come back to that one, I generally like to start them all and then tighten them. We've heard that before, but that way we don't have a problem. But that all looks great. All right, excellent. I don't know, we might have time to go ahead and finish this thing up. Let's see here. All we really like is throwing this fella together. So this guy just lays in there, and then it just seals against this cover. Let's put him in here. This looks like there's a piece in there too, though, doesn't it? That must be nothing. BPMR 7A. There we go. All right. That looks better now. Now that's what this little fella locks on to. There, that looks better. Alrighty. Well, there she is. Everything but the bar clamp stuff installed. And one screw right here. Short one screw right there. Oh my, that is a beast. That is a beast. Now, again, we can't install any of this stuff until we move over to the other holding fixture. So I had to remove all that junk so that the bar clamp, so that we could put our holding fixture on to do all that work. So we are ready now to get this fella all put back together again. I'm just going to kind of walk across my table here, make sure I didn't miss anything, but I think we're in good shape. So anyway, pretty excited to have this thing done, and we've got a really exciting project coming up where this guy, we're going to do a little bit of Alaskan sawmilling with it. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you there a little later. All right, I'm going to revisit the cylinder head torque on this. You ever laid there at night in bed thinking, I just really didn't like the way that whatever happened through the day. So I don't trust that torque wrench. It was a cheap Taiwan Chinese thing, and I just think I'd feel better putting a good wrench on it. So we are going to walk back through it with a little different torque wrench here. This is a Mac, and it lists everything inch pounds. I bought this for working on big trucks with setting injectors, but we want to set this thing around here too. Let me get my bearings right here. So the first round will put us here. Let me get it all figured out here. 9, 10, right there we go. All right, that should do it for us. All right, so I'm going to turn this. I wasn't all the way done there, was I? So I want to turn this dial, because we're going to be reading newton meters, and then I'm going to turn this fella around here to 10. I got ahead of myself. So this side here will start at 0, and then as we crank it, it will come around to 10. Not sure if y'all can see that. Oh yeah. Just don't like it. I'm going to back those off just a little, just to make sure that we're right where we need to be. There we go. A little bit of peace of mind here. That one did not feel a bit like the other one. I'm so glad we did this, because that one took hardly any effort to release. I'm just not a fan of junky tools, but I don't want to complain. It's what we had yesterday. again. That was very loose too. There it is. Again, I'm just doing these one at a time to make sure we don't lose any issues with our gaskets down there. So that one felt pretty good right there. So I had two, one that seemed way too tight, two that seemed way too loose, and one that felt pretty good. So very, very thankful that grabbed this torque wrench this morning. I don't know if anybody else ever struggles with that, but kind of going back through the day and thinking about all the things that worked on or whatever, and kind of walk back through, it's like, oh boy, I don't know about that one. Or conversations sometimes with people, you think, man, I really said the wrong thing there. But anyway, that's kind of where this was yesterday or last night. I thought, man, I just hate to go through all this and have a cylinder gasket leak because I had a wrong tool, and boy, I'm glad we did that. Okay, now that's great. I am very pleased with that now. So now we're going to put it back together. That looks good. Doesn't cost a dime to go back and do that right now, but if we'd hadn't done that, that would have, I mean, I can't guarantee it would have been a failure, but there's a strong likeliness that we would have had to go back and revisit that job again in a big bad way. So thankful for that. All right. Boot on our new plug, got a new air filter installed, put a new fuel filter on it yesterday. Now we're going to slide over here to our park tool stand and finish up our assembly. Now this torque wrench doesn't need to be backed off or anything because it is a just plain old dial type. It's in good shape. Bought that thing 20 some years ago. It's been a handy thing. I also use that when setting up checking pinion bearing preload. That's a handy thing for that. I don't ever turn the light off. So set up pinion bearing preload with that, and it because you need something that you can read the amount on it, and it works out pretty good. Right there. All right, well, let's go ahead and get our attachment stuff installed. We had to remove that because there just wasn't room to put it in the saw fixture. Now I'm missing a couple bolts, missing a nut right here, and I'm missing one of our others. They're on order, and also one for the starter. I think I mentioned that earlier there for that recoil housing. But got that stuff. Talked to Randy this morning, got all that stuff coming, and also I ordered some Kohler parts for another little project we've got going here. I gotta get this all organized in my mind, right? I'm backwards here. This thing needs to go over here. There we go. And that little Gravely project we've been working on here past 2 days. Got it all apart yesterday, almost all apart. I couldn't get the gears off the crankshaft. I didn't have a puller here at the school, so I ran home to the shop and got it when I got that torque wrench this morning. But that was really interesting. Of course, it broke. You have to check out the video on it if you get a chance. It was a issue with the low on oil. Of course, it didn't lubricate the rod and tore it all to pieces. So when it tore it all to pieces, what we ended up with was a problem of wrong wrench. A problem of no lube, and it got hot and broke the connecting rod, which I've seen that happen before, but frustrating. But when that happens, get in there. There we go. But anyway, so we got that all ironed out of the block this morning. Put the puller on it, got the gear off the end, drove the crank out of the block. And a friend of mine, he watches these videos too. Hey, Waylon, I'll say hi to you there. But anyway, he said, I called him about it, and he said, have you ever tried using muriatic acid before? I said, no, I haven't. Never even heard of that. He said, it's supposed to eat the aluminum. Now, what do we have going on here? We have the wrong screw. Did we just happen to find the right screw for our starter housing? I believe we did. I believe that's it. Yeah, I bet it is. Anyway, so he said, have you tried that muriatic acid? I said, no. So I picked some up at Lowe's on the way in this morning, and we tried that out. And wow, that was impressive. So yeah, that's the one, because it was a little longer than those. Pretty sure that's the one I need. So this is the one I need for right here. That's what happens when parts get moved around. But anyway, we took about 45 minutes, and that was including cutting up a jug to hold it and all that stuff. Got it all in a little area to hold it and work it. Used a brass brush, and my goodness gracious, that thing, it came super clean. I just really couldn't. You know, here, I'll show you the pictures of it. I'll show you before and after of it. You can go check out the video. But there's the carnage that was down in the bottom of the crankcase. There is the rod there before we started cleaning on it. And right there it is, after 45 minutes of putting the muriatic acid on it, and then 1500 grit sandpaper with WD-40 and polishing it. Just there's again after, and before. You can see how all that aluminum just kind of fused itself on there when the connecting rod broke. So anyway, super neat. But go check that video out. I'll have it up there hopefully soon. And but it's on a Gravely, a professional 8. It has professional on the side. Most of them would say professional 12 or something on a decal. But it is an 8-lead transmission machine. Has a brush cutter on it. Best we can tell, it's mid-90s machine. But anyway, just kind of a real exciting little bit of stuff going on there with that machine, and really in good shape. It had been left outside at a repair shop. The story was for about 2 years, and then they just went and picked it up because the guy didn't fix it. And so anyway, I was kind of excited to get the opportunity to work on it. It's been a long time since I'd been around an engine down. I did a Briggs a long time ago that was same problem with it, but I hadn't done a Kohler, and I don't know, just kind of fun every now and then do something a little different. But I've got a little bit of dirt right in there I really want to get cleaned out. Get a screwdriver here. It's funny, the screwdriver right there, same tool that killed this saw, trying to help me get back together. Again, I was looking there yesterday. I had to go back and look at the video to get the springs, the linkages all where they needed to be. And I thought it was a 4-part, but it's actually 5-part series there on testing what happened to the saw and what all was going on there. So get a chance, you can check those out. We don't use this saw for much, but boy, when you do, it is the right tool for the job. It is a horse. There we go. All that looks really good. A little nick right here, but it won't hurt anything. think that'll do fantastic. We'll go get a bar and put on that saw. I'll move you back here a little bit because it is a lot of bar. Now this is one of the only Duramatic bars that we run. You can see it doesn't have a sprocket on the tip. When we bought this bar, it came with a aluminum slug that went there, but it came out and got chewed up right off the bat. All right, so here's the chain we run. It is a 46 RS, 138 drive links, 404 pitch, 63 gauge, 47-inch bar length. So there she is. But we're gonna put a new one on it. I don't want to put that old chain on there and fight with it. All right, so let's go ahead and put our bar clamp on. Now this one does not have captured nuts. So I'm just going to use this fella up on here. It's kind of tricky. You got to make sure you get that pin in, just like a 661 or 460, 500i. It doesn't have the pin in the bottom. Now we're missing a nut. He's got that ordered for us, and it is captured inside, so we can tighten it later. So that looks great. We'll reach over and grab the nuts in our screech and get this all set up. All right, so we have our nuts here, and again, I'm just gonna I always try to put it the same right on the outside. I think I've mentioned that before. This one is not the correct nut. We lost one, and on a big stump we were trying to cut one day, but I'm going to get this fella snugged up here. Got a brand new chain on it. It looks pretty good. Now, remember, you always want to preload this thing. So go ahead and tighten that thing down. I like to watch my fingers around them spikes. Oh, that looks fantastic. And again, I'm not going to get crazy with that nut because it doesn't fit a screech and got one coming for it. So she is done. She is ready to go, and really excited there to have this thing all wrapped up. So we're going to get it all adjusted. We've got to adjust our carburetor correctly this time. We'll get it all put into place, and going to grab the correct nut here, one for down here on the bottom. I'm going to tighten up that last little screw there, and we'll call this fella finished up. And we'll try to get it running and bring you along for some pretty cool slab work we have lined up for it. So anyway, I'll let you go with that, and we'll talk to you guys later.